Many of us have felt the unsettling presence of someone who seems to drain our energy or bring a heavy atmosphere without apparent explanation. Identifying these dark influences can be crucial to maintaining harmony in our lives. In this video, we'll explore the 7 telltale signs that someone in your life may be a demon in disguise. From manipulative behavior to the presence of a disturbing aura, uncovering these clues can be the key to freeing yourself from evil influences and restoring your serenity. I'm James. My own search for meaning and purpose began when I was feeling lost, yearning for a deeper connection with life. On this journey, I have learned that there is immense value in sharing experiences and learning from those of others. 1. Constant negative energy. Throughout my years as a spiritual mentor, one of the most significant experiences I've had is the realization of how negative energy can profoundly impact our lives. It's fascinating and at the same time, disturbing to observe how some people seem to carry a constant cloud of negativity, affecting not only themselves, but also everyone around them. I remember a specific case in which I was approached by a young woman called Mariana. She was in a complicated relationship and felt constantly exhausted and discouraged. Over the course of our sessions, it became clear that her partner emanated an extremely negative energy. He was a cynical person, always criticizing others and perpetually dissatisfied with life. Every time Mariana spent time with him, she felt as if her own energy was being drained. Energy is a constant exchange. When you're around someone who carries negative energy, this exchange can be devastating. It's as if your light is gradually extinguished, leaving you in a state of tiredness and sadness. On my journey, I've discovered that this draining sensation is one of the first signs that something isn't right. It's as if the universe is warning us to protect ourselves. I myself have been in situations where, after interacting with certain people, I felt inexplicably drained. At first, I didn't understand why. I thought it was simply a coincidence or perhaps a reflection of my own emotional state. However, as I deepened my spiritual practice and studied more about spiritual energies and influences, I began to notice a pattern. These people had a dense, negativity-laden aura that seemed to suck away my own vital energy. It is crucial that you, as a spiritual seeker, learn to recognize these signs. Your intuition can be a powerful guide. If you feel tired, discouraged, or emotionally drained after interacting with someone, pay attention. This doesn't mean immediately judging or labeling the person, but it is an invitation to observe and reflect. Often, this negative energy can be indicative of darker, perhaps even demonic influences that are affecting that person, and by extension you. If you identify with Mariana's story or feel that negative energy is draining your vitality, it's time to take action. Discover how to transform your life with the 21-day spiritual challenge. Take the first step towards a lighter, more enlightened life. Check out the link in the first comment attached. 2. Psychological manipulation. Psychological manipulation is one of the most subtle and insidious forms of behavior that someone influenced by demonic forces can exhibit. Throughout my years as a spiritual mentor, I have witnessed countless cases in which individuals were emotionally manipulated by those around them, often without realizing what was happening. This manipulation can manifest in various ways, including gaslighting, constant lying, and emotional manipulation. Gaslighting is a particularly cruel technique of manipulation. It's when someone tries to make you doubt your own sanity by questioning your memories, perceptions, and even your reality. It's a form of emotional abuse that undermines your trust in your own mind. I remember one case where a person came to me completely devastated, unable to trust her own thoughts because her partner constantly made her feel inadequate and confused. After several sessions of spiritual guidance, she began to realize that this manipulation was not just abusive behavior, but possibly influenced by negative forces that wanted to see her spiritually destroyed. Constant lying is also a clear sign of demonic manipulation. The truth is a powerful and divine force, and those under demonic influence often avoid it. They lie to control situations, manipulate perceptions, and keep the people around them under their control. I have accompanied people who, on freeing themselves from these influences, reported immense relief at finally living in an environment where the truth was valued. Emotional manipulation is another aspect of this dark tactic. Someone under demonic influence can use your emotions against you, making you feel guilty, ashamed, or inadequate. They can manipulate your feelings so that you do what they want, keeping you in a constant state of emotional distress. In my experiences, I've seen how devastating this can be for a person's spiritual well-being. One woman I mentored was in a relationship where her partner constantly made her feel guilty for following his spiritual practices. He emotionally manipulated her into turning away from her faith, claiming that it was destroying their relationship. Over time, she realized that this contempt for spiritual practices was a clear sign of demonic influence. It is crucial, when identifying these signs, that you trust your intuition and spiritual discernment. If you feel that someone is manipulating you psychologically, it's important to seek help and guidance. Share your experiences with trusted people who can offer an objective perspective and spiritual support. I always encourage those who come to me to talk openly about their experiences. Sometimes just verbalizing what you're going through can bring clarity and relief. 3. Disregard for spirituality. Over the years as a spiritual mentor, I have observed a disturbing pattern in some people, a deep and irrational contempt for all that is spiritual and divine. This intense aversion can be a sign of demonic influence. Demons, by their very nature, despise everything connected with the sacred, divine love and spiritual light. They feed on darkness and chaos and will often try to lead people away from any path that leads to enlightenment and spiritual growth. On my journey, I met several people who inexplicably reacted with hostility to spiritual practices. I remember one young man who, whenever we mentioned anything to do with meditation or prayer, became aggressive and dismissive. Not only did he avoid any spiritual discussion, but he also tried to discourage others from following these paths by mocking and belittling their beliefs. At first glance, this could be seen as skepticism or a negative personal experience with religion. However, the intensity and irrationality of his reaction raised suspicions. I accompanied him for a while, offering guidance and support. Over time, it became clear that this aversion was deeper than a simple intellectual disagreement. There was a visceral resistance to spiritual light. Whenever we tried to carry out activities that involved energy purification, he would shy away or become visibly uncomfortable. It took a long and compassionate process to help him gradually open up to the possibility of spiritual healing. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. Is there someone in your life who reacts negatively to anything related to spiritual growth? If so, take a close look at their behavior. Do they try to divert you from your spiritual path? Do they show an irrational hatred for spiritual practices or religious symbols? This kind of behavior can be an indication of a demonic presence, or at the very least, a deep spiritual disconnection that needs to be addressed. It's not about judging or condemning, but understanding that these reactions can be a cry for help, a manifestation of an internal battle against dark forces. It is vital that, as spiritual guides, we approach these situations with empathy and compassion. Often these people are lost and need light, not more darkness. I remember another case, a woman who, after years of trauma and negative experiences, had developed an aversion to anything spiritual. She felt betrayed by the universe and rejected any form of spiritual help. It was hard and delicate work to help her rediscover her faith and reconnect with her own spirituality. But with patience and love, she began to see the light again, and to realize that the contempt she felt was more a barrier that needed to be overcome than an absolute truth. 4. Destructive behavior. Throughout my journey as a spiritual mentor, one of the clearest and most disturbing manifestations of the demonic presence that I've noticed is destructive behavior. This type of behavior not only affects the person being influenced, but also those around them, creating an environment of pain and suffering. It can be difficult to identify initially, as often these behaviors are masked by other seemingly normal problems, such as addictions or unresolved emotional issues. However, as you dig deeper and observe carefully, the patterns become evident. One of my most striking experiences was with a young woman who sought my guidance. She was trapped in a cycle of addictions, abusive relationships, and self-sabotage. At first glance, it seemed like she was just going through a difficult phase, but as I talked to her and felt her energy, I realized something much deeper and darker. She described her actions as driven by a force she couldn't control, as if something inside her was determined to wreak havoc. This is a classic sign of demonic influence, where a person feels that their actions are guided by a will that is not their own. On another occasion, a man came to me with a history of unexplained violence. He was by nature a calm and peaceful person, but there were times when he would completely lose control and become aggressive, causing both physical and emotional harm to those around him. During our sessions, it became clear that these outbursts were followed by a deep sense of guilt and confusion, as if he couldn't understand what had happened. This usually occurs when an external demonic force is influencing a person's mind and actions, leading them to commit acts they wouldn't normally do. I encourage you to carefully observe the people in your life who exhibit destructive behavior. It's not just about judging or condemning, but understanding that these behaviors may be symptoms of a much larger and more sinister influence. If you notice that someone is constantly putting themselves in risky situations, harming themselves or others in an irrational and repetitive way, it may be time to consider the possibility of a demonic presence. In addition, it is crucial that you share your experiences and are open to listening to others. Often, people who are being influenced by demonic forces are not aware of it and need someone who can offer an outside, objective perspective. By sharing your own stories and listening to those of others, you create an environment of mutual support and understanding, which is essential for combating these negative influences. 5. Intuition and gut feelings. Your intuition is an incredibly powerful spiritual compass. It is often the voice of your soul trying to communicate something that your rational mind has not yet perceived. When you feel an unexplained discomfort around someone, a negative presentiment or a sense of imminent danger, don't disregard these signals. Intuition works like a silent alarm, alerting you to energies that may not be immediately visible, but which are perceived on a deeper, spiritual level. It is important to understand that intuition is not a vague or unfounded feeling. It is based on a complex set of sensory and energetic perceptions that we pick up on, often subconsciously. When you are in tune with your own spiritual energy, these signals become clearer and harder to ignore. So if you sense that something is wrong with someone, even if you can't pinpoint exactly what it is, trust your instinct. In addition, it's essential to practice discernment. Not every feeling of discomfort means that the person is influenced by demonic forces. Sometimes this discomfort can be a reflection of your own insecurities or fears. Meditation, prayer, and other spiritual practices can help clarify these feelings, allowing you to differentiate between genuine intuition and unfounded fear. When it comes to negative forebodings, it's useful to keep a spiritual diary. Recording your sensations and experiences can help you identify patterns and better understand the signals you are receiving. Often, when you revisit your notes, you may realize that your intuition was right about certain people or situations. 6. Eyes that reflect the void. The eyes are often referred to as the windows to the soul, and for good reason. They can reveal a lot about a person's spiritual state. In individuals who are influenced by demonic forces, the eyes can reflect a disturbing emptiness. This gaze can seem lifeless, cold, or even full of malice. It's a feeling that's hard to describe, but unmistakable when you see it. This emptiness in the eyes can be a sign that the person has lost connection with their own soul, or is under the influence of a powerful negative energy. You may notice that even when the person is smiling or talking about something happy, their eyes don't express the same emotion. There is a visible disconnect between their words and their facial expressions. Paying attention to a person's eyes can be a revealing act. If you feel discomfort or a sense of repulsion when you look into someone's eyes, take it seriously. It doesn't necessarily mean that the person is evil, but it can be an indication that something is deeply wrong in their spiritual state. In addition, it's important to remember that as a spiritual mentor, you also need to protect your own energy. Looking into the eyes of someone who reflects emptiness can be a draining experience. After such interactions, It is useful to carry out energy purification practices, such as meditation, the use of crystals or herbal baths, to restore your spiritual balance. In conclusion, both intuition and eye-gazing are valuable tools for identifying demonic influences. They require practice and discernment, but are fundamental to keeping your own energy protected and helping those around you in an effective and compassionate way. 7. Resistance to light and love. As a spiritual mentor, my journey has been filled with moments of light and darkness, and one of the most important lessons I have learned is the importance of love and light in our lives. These are elements that demons and negative influences simply cannot withstand. They turn away or react adversely when confronted with acts of kindness, unconditional love, and spiritual light. I remember a specific case years ago where a young man came to me seeking guidance. He was surrounded by a person who, at first glance, just seemed to be going through a difficult phase. However, as we deepened our spiritual work, it became apparent that this person reacted very negatively to any form of love and positivity. When the young person tried to show compassion or offer help, the person became angry and uncomfortable, as if they were literally being repelled by the light of love. These situations require a keen sensitivity and a clear perception. If you, like me, have ever had the experience of trying to help someone and felt an almost palpable resistance to the love you were offering, it's important to pay attention to this sign. Love is one of the most powerful forces in the universe and, when genuine, it has the ability to heal and transform. If someone reacts with hostility or discomfort in the light of love, there may be negative forces at work. I encourage you to reflect on your own experiences. Have there been times when you felt that your love and kindness were met with resistance or even aggression? These moments are opportunities to practice spiritual discernment. Try to remember how you felt and how the other person reacted. Your intuition is a powerful tool, and being attentive to these signals can help protect your own energy and spiritual well-being. In my practice, I always recommend that my students and followers surround themselves with love and light. Practices such as meditation, prayer, and visualizing light can not only protect you, but also light the way for those around you. If someone in your life seems unable to bear this light, it may be an indicator that there is something deeper and darker at play.